I'll try and run the group of each section, talk through them, and then we can speak to each one if there's substantial things to talk about amongst us all. So I will do my best to answer every question that's up here. Without further ado, Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Doctor. As Dr. Miller mentioned, the agenda just came up. All of you, if you don't have a hard copy, there's hard copies at the back door if you'd like a hard copy to follow along. It just takes you until the end of the presentation. It doesn't take you into the questions or the results. Our current board members, Mr. Lewis and Mr. Waters, their first 3-year term is expiring, and that is what the election was put forward to all of you to fill those 2 seats. Dr. Scott Miller and Mr. Brightfeller, their term expires at the end of next year. And then Mr. Curley, Dr. Hanley, and Rick Renfro's term expires in 2 years. Leadership team, there's myself. Amy Barati is our Chief Financial Officer. Nick Garibay is our Director of Agronomy. Ryan Williams is our new Director of Golf. His unofficial start date is June 1. He will be floating in and out of here over the next 2 months for some of the events that are coming up for the Club Championship, and he's planning on coming down for the Magnolia Invitational. Anna Collins is our Membership Director. Jim Tills is in the back of the room. Our Food and Beverage Director, Paul Davis, our Director of Racket Sports. David Drenga, our Director of Facilities Maintenance, and Alyssa Worf, who does and handles our human resources. Standing committees, we have a group of standing committees. We have Finance Committee, the Membership Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, the House Committee, and the Social Committee. And I apologize, the House Committee is actually the Facilities Committee. We did break it out this year for the first time and made it much more programmable and specific. And then we have Legal and Bylaws, Grievance, Tennis Rackets Committee, the Golf Committee, and the Green Committee. In addition to those, the board did support 2 ad hoc committees. Our 2 ad hoc committees are an investment committee made up of 2 board members, actually 3 board members, John Brightfeller, Jim Curley, Pat Waters, and Joe Killian from Finance. And the second ad hoc committee is a Compensation and Human Resources Committee made up and chaired by Pat Waters, Jim Curley, and 2 past presidents, Mr. Dick Rossetti and Mr. Phil Schlaughter. Year in review, some of these, and I'll try to point out, when we get into the questions, some of your questions had to do with some positions of our cash and the future and some economic foresight. So I'm going to try to point some places out here for you, and if we need to refer back, we will. But as you can see, our cash increased year over year by a significant amount. And that cash number in 2025 does include the assessment. And the assessment was for $1.7 million, and that is in that $3.9 million number. It also includes $850,000 of ERC money. And the employee retention credit from COVID, we are starting to receive. Right now we have 1 or 2 quarters still outstanding and waiting to get those in. That is the seed money for the investment committee, and that is what they are working through. And then there's also $1.2 million in there of prepaid dues. And the deposit cash pickup year over year we'll talk about from the income and expense statement here in the middle and how we funded that. Current liabilities, it did increase because we did have some different accounting functions in here, and that we do have to have an offset of your prepaid dues of $1.2 million. So that is why the current liabilities on the liability side had to balance it out. Income and expense statement, again, we took a lot of zeros off of this, so this is in thousands. Operating dues, driven a lot by green fees and parts. This number does not include any prepaid dues or anything. This is straight operational income from all the departments. And then we do have down at the bottom the one-time event here of $1.1 million. This is also the ERC. And I know that I told you back on this slide it was 850,000. On the income side, it's 1.1 million, because that includes all of the fees that were due to the consultants and for additional information. So the net of that is about $860,000 that we placed on our balance sheet that we're investing at this point in time. The bottom, the net, we were in the black for the first time in a while by $43,000. Might not seem like a lot, but last year, the year before, we lost 125. So we had a $160,000 pickup, almost $170,000 pickup year over year in positive cash flow. So that was a pretty nice move. We're anticipating the same number this year as well. So we're hoping to continue to build on that balance sheet and our cash position. This is just a slide that effectively shows that all the income that we have coming into the club, your dues, and all the operational income that includes green fees, cart fees, food and beverage, is effectively spent. So there's no gap in here. The blue is the revenue on here, and red is expenses, and we spend all the money that comes in. So last year there's a little bit of a change in there, about $43,000. As we move forward, we want to see some more separation between the blue line and the red line to continue to drive cash towards investments, the investment account. And that little subnote in there, that is net of the ERC, the Earned Retention Credit. So this is straight income versus expenses. Any questions so far? I'm going too quick, just stopping. 25, capital improvements. We did put in service the pickleball courts. We did resurface courts 5 and 6. We enclosed the Palm Restaurant hallway. There are multiple HVAC replacements on site, including this building and the Palm Restaurant as well. Tennis pole light replacements. So we replaced all of the broken and failing light poles over in the tennis courts this past year, along with all of the fencing. So all the fabric that was all pulled and pulled apart, that has been all replaced in all of the tennis bays, along with a lot of the crossbars and the vertical poles were replaced and re-welded and put into place. New tennis furniture came this past year, along with cart improvements out on the golf course. Membership update. This is effectively the year over year and the last 15 months. So currently our golf equity sits at 582. Last year at this time we were at 632 at the end of the year. Tennis equity has increased. Social equity has decreased. And then the non-equity memberships are decreasing as well. The non-equity memberships are going to be tailing off through the rest of this year. So the non-equity memberships are the young professional memberships and the junior memberships. And what the club has had in the past, we've had members in standing that were as young as 12 years old that were members of the club. And they were the sole users of the property, and their parents through the membership were not even allowed to be on property. So through the membership committee, we work through some things. We have some liability issues in there, obviously, and some discipline functions that were pretty tough to follow through with. The young professionals for the non-equities, what we're doing is we're giving them an off-ramp. So through the membership committee, they have reduced the initiation fee for the young professionals. So anyone that is 29 and under can pay 25% of the current initiation fee. So the current initiation fee is $25,000. The young professional up to 30 can pay $6,250 to join the club. And then they would pay the dues in accordance to the membership classification that they joined the club in. In the past, it was 50%. So we wanted to be able to give them a reasonable opportunity to join the club as a full member. And then still in place is any member who wants to join, prospective member who wants to join 30 to 34, the initiation fee is 50%. I know that
Just
that,
as an ad. So our essential non-equity golf members will eventually be reflected as a military category. Those members in the military that choose to join through their own system will be non-equity golf members or tennis or otherwise. So we're transitioning away from junior memberships and making them a part of the club as equity members and still leaving that opportunity for the military members.
thank you, that is correct. Member demographics, these are our ages. The total age, you can't average percentages, or total average age of members, both spouses and dependents, is 61.4. And that's still in line with about where it was last year at the same time. And we have 1,192 memberships as of last year, 25, and 1,106 as of this year. One thing that we did work through, going back to this slide, is that we recognize the changes in the membership, in the golf membership, with the assessment. And we are sensitive to that, we truly are. And at the same time, once we work through that challenge, we listened to all of you, and a lot of you had the comments that we're playing too much golf, the membership is saturated. Let's go back to the number before the club took in those 50 members off of the wait list. So through the membership committee and through the board, what we did do is we lowered our cap. So instead of that 582, our cap used to be 635, and our new golf cap is 600. So we're hoping to be able to transition some of those young professionals into membership, and then we're anticipating having a wait list here pretty quick. I know that we do have another 5 more golfing memberships coming in on May 1st already, so. Mr. Myers?
Are we doing a summer membership this year?
Yes, we are. We're doing summer membership this year for golf. Tennis starts a little later because tennis wanted to give the tennis, the trial tennis members the ability to participate in some teams and get that team aspect. The summer trial memberships will stay in the summer. But what we did do through the board is we limited, like we did last year, the total number. So we're allowing Anna to take up to 15 this year, plus an additional 5 if they wanted to upgrade from social to tennis. And there's a little bit of flexibility. If we have more that want to transition up from social or tennis, then we'll just take in some less straight off the street. Operational goals and objectives, we will stay with the same to improve the club's operational cash flow and strengthen the balance sheet. That is job one. That has to get done and has to be focused on all the time. So well, we have written goals and objectives that we review quarterly. So our financial goals, each of the department directors has their own financial goals that they have to set, and they have to meet or exceed their budget. It's that simple. If they meet their budget, then we're in a really good spot at the end of the year to have positive cash flow. If they exceed it, then it helps us a little bit more as well. Membership will focus on improving the course conditions specific to fairways, tees, and continue positive programs for the health of the greens. We'll conduct department-specific survey reviews with the membership, looking for more detailed information from, or detailed general information that was shared. Continue to move in the positive direction food and beverage is going in. Review menu options and create additional opportunities for more pop-up restaurants, and the use of the Century Room, which is coming through the user end surveys for a la carte. And when we do the pop-up restaurants and the wine dinners, there seems to be more of a drive to do more of those events in that room. Committees will continue to utilize written departmental goals and objectives as the operational focus towards success. And we'll continue with the success from this past year and expand levels of discussion and shared information to go out to the membership. Staff, we continue expanding staff training programs. That includes more formal education settings and professionalism in all the departments. We're continuing to add educational programs to our quarterly all-staff meetings to assist them in health, wellness, and financial planning for the futures. So every quarter we do, Alyssa hosts an all-staff meeting. There's about 200 of them that come into this room, and each quarter that's educational based. And there's a lecture series that goes on, and then at the end of the series, there's a private breakout in the Sentry Room and over in the Heritage Room and the boardroom and the private meeting rooms for them to meet with advisors just to help with health and wellness and financial planning. We also celebrate our years of service, and there's some little games and some little fun add-ins as well. Those usually take about an hour and a half, and it's done every quarter. 2026 planned O&M, operational maintenance, capital improvements, new walk-in and freezer cooler that we need. There's a lot of non-sexy stuff in here. And close the cart barn, that's still on our list. We will continue to set aside money. We have about $60,000 this year set aside to replace HVAC units. Sentry ceiling tiles in the Sentry Room next door. Those are old and dated, and those are all going to be pulled down and replaced. Cart path upkeep stays on this list. We will be adding a new tennis ice and water machine. It's going to be a second ice and water machine over at tennis. It's going to be right in the middle where all the pickleball courts and the tennis courts come together. There's already electric over in that corner, so we're going to build a small little shelter over there, put it in there so you don't have to walk all the way back to the tennis building. We are resurfacing additional clay courts this year. 1 and 2 are going to be resurfaced. And we just finished the second coat of paint on the hard courts. So the hard courts have been repaired, the sinkhole has been repaired, and those have been repainted, and that was done over the weekend. Additionally, the Membership and Communications Office is going to get a facelift. That's where Anna and Katie sit. So we're going to rip out the carpet, redo the walls, change out their ceiling tiles, and change some window coverings in there. Banquet walk-in cooler, replacement of the condenser, which is up here in this upstairs kitchen. Human Resources facelift, same idea, rip out the carpet, new wall coverings, new window coverings, and that office is to the right of where Anna and Katie sit on that first floor. We already took care of the easy locator. That has been implemented. A Pronovist dump trailer is for Nick, and that's an outright purchase because that has a very long useful life. So we did not see the purpose in leasing that or renting it. So we just went out and we're purchasing it. That is slated to be purchased in this quarter, the second quarter, starting in April of this year. New steamer for the Legacy building, and we just installed new 10-foot fencing on the east side of the tennis courts. With the construction that's going on over at Sorelli's, we increased the height, and we are in the process of ordering windscreens to at least help block some of that out. I will get into, there are some questions in the question section here, and I'll go into further detail about that when the time is right. Carryover O&M, capital improvements, the veranda awning. Today, the gutters on the front side were just placed. They're not there, so they have to still be welded in place, and then the downspouts will be going in throughout the rest of this week. The painting of the new clubhouse is complete. The ground storage building, there's one swale yet we have to cut, and then we'll be putting that into for the final inspection. And then raising the pump house on number 9, there's some concrete that is surrounding a pipe that they didn't see in the concrete. So we're just waiting to do a little bit of exploratory work over there before we start pulling all that concrete up and cause a problem. But that whole area over on number 9, when that is done, the concrete will be out of there, and we're going to put St. Augustine grass back in this place before we clean it up. There is a potential for some additional work, but we want to take care of that first, and then we'll talk about this in a minute with the capital assessment program. But once the bulkhead is done, then we'll get back in there. We have some ideas about how we can beautify that whole 9 tee box on Classic. Capital assessment projects, the driving range is done. That is completed. The bulkheads I have listed is in process. So the bulkheads, the classic course, when that comes down for the first aerification, the only bulkheads that need to be replaced are on number 9. So that's an easy in, easy out. So it's up on the tee box on number 9 classic and up around the green on number 9. The challenge course work will begin May 27th. They will start in challenge on number 12, and they'll at the tee, and they'll go all the way through the green on number 12 of challenge, and they'll start behind the tee on 13, and they'll go as far along as they possibly can. At some point, they're going to stop. If we believe that they can continue through and they just have to finish up a little small section, and we open in 3 weeks, and for 4 of the days that we open, there's some finished work, we're gonna finish that. We'll give you a praise, that's gonna be weather dependent. And then for the fall aerification of challenge, they'll come back and finish all the rest of the bulkhead work throughout the challenge course. So we're going to need 2 takes at the challenge course just because of the amount of bulkheading that's going to take to get that all done. Any questions on the bulkheading? Yes.
Not a question on that, but I just got a text. Somebody's trying to watch the Zoom and it's not coming through.
Okay, let Katie work through that.
Thank you.
The classic irrigation heads and additional irrigation is in process. We did receive the delivery of all of the heads that they will be installing. The classic course work will begin the week of May 4th as well. We got a lot of work going on this year for both these aerifications for Nick. Classic course will start on May 4th, and it will be done in 3 weeks when we open up for all of you. There may need to be a little bit of off fairway work done for some of the extensions on the classic course, but it will not interfere with play. The challenge course irrigation upgrades, we'll call it, the additions, will take place on May 27th, and those again will be done by the time they reopen the challenge course. Just to be specific, right now they're anticipating replacing 1,068 heads. On the classic golf course, they'll be adding an additional 131 irrigation heads throughout the property. For both challenge and classic, they'll be adding and running 80,000 lineal feet of control wire, and they'll also be adding 13,500 feet of HDPE pipe, which is the thick-walled polyethylene pipe that moves all the water throughout the property. This is just my little side note. There's a lot of wire and copper that goes into golf courses. This is just a little piece. So if there is lightning in the area, it's really not a great place to be. Think about standing on a spider web of copper wires underground. It's the worst place that you can imagine being if you can't get in undercover, but just don't be in the middle of a golf course. That's my public service announcement. Yes, Steve?
On the irrigation beds, I was on the committee when we put the irrigation in the last night, and there was a lot of discussion because we wanted to set them in so they don't water the traps when they're watering the greens.
That's a good idea.
Are they, is that part of this or not?
That we are not going to irrigate the bunkers?
Yeah, the sprinklers, when they took off, we suggested that you put sprinklers in so that during the day they wouldn't be watering the bunkers. And
Yeah, we don't currently water the bunkers.
No, I think his question is related to, we're not changing the position of the sprinklers.
Okay.
We're replacing the heads as they sit, and then we'll let Nick dial in where they go, but we're not going to be taking large swaths and rerouting where they are. The additions will be the under irrigated areas, the areas that don't grow grass, like 18 off over the bridge, side of 1, several areas that don't get grass.
Yeah, to the left of number 1 challenge, to the left of number 2 challenge, there's a lot of you guys, people have been here for a long time, there's a lot of brown areas, so those are all gonna start getting water. Landscape lawn challenge number 1, this is in process as well. This will begin on June 1 with the removal of the old shrubbery and the trees, and is planned to be complete by the end of that aerification cycle. That is about 13,000 or 1,350 feet long. So they'll be planting 14 to 16 foot foxtail palms every 30 feet. And then in between the foxtail palms, they'll be planting viburnum. The viburnums. Thanks. The viburnums that we'll be planting, I'll show you this. So viburnums that we're planting will be 6 feet tall when they're installed. We have not decided on a finished height yet, because we want to make sure that as you're standing on the fairway, you won't be bothered by trucks and cars going by. So we don't know what that height, finished height's going to be right now.
Are these cold resistant?
They are, so it's actually, I appreciate the Brent. The original plan called for cloches. And the cloches are the bushes that are in between this clubhouse and the palm that are brown.
They were, those
They were.
bushes, they're not alive anymore. There's no way to.
We've got our fingers crossed. But yes, and that's why we went away from the cloches and went to the viburnum, because the viburnum is a woody plant and it's more hardy for that cold weather. So yes. The other two projects are re-siding the existing grounds building and upgrading the interior lighting in that building. I know that our facilities committee took a walk down there, and if you know anybody on the facilities, you can ask them what they think of Nick's current building. But it is actually, the sides are falling in, and they all rusted out on the bottoms. So it does need an upgrade. And then the material storage bins. Those can be done at any point in time. Just have to firm up one more bid, and then we can pour those whenever we want. None of the membership won't see any of those. Aspirational capital. So we talked over the course of the last 2 years, aspirational capital. Our aspirational capital focus is on the Urban, Lovett, and Miller strategic plan, ELM. And last year, the club engaged ELM to conduct a long-range strategic plan. The process is going to take up to 14 months. So there are some questions further in about where we are. And we are at the infant stages of this process. It is iterative, which means that there's going to be a lot of requests from you to participate in focus groups, additional survey follow-ups, and they're going to take some information, take some time to put it together. They'll make presentations. You're going to get your feedback, and it's iterative. It just goes back and forth and back and forth. There is no end time for us right now for this process. We were very specific with the 6 groups that we interviewed, but we don't want to get rushed into this. So this is going to take some time. So we'll keep you up to speed on where we are. Your focus groups are going to start later this month. And I encourage each and every one of you to participate fully. They'll start right now. Right now we're setting aside Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, the 3rd week and the 4th week in April. And each one of those days there'll be 3 times. I believe, Jim, it was 3:30, 5:30, 7:30, somewhere in there. There's 18 sessions that we are setting aside at the end of April for all of you to participate in. Please participate. They'll take about an hour, hour and a half, and it's an open forum. I will make an introduction to Steve Lovett and his staff, and I'm going to step out of the room. They'll be in here, the doors will be shut. The rules of engagement are no department directors, no board members, and no strategic planning committee members will participate. So these are your sessions, and you can just have at it. And they will take all your notes. So they are going to take the information that they received from the survey that you took, and they have formulated questions to push back on your opinions of what the future looks like for Century for the entire property. Any questions? Yes.
How do you sign up for that?
So it's a great question. So Mr. Curley and I have been in an email today with ELM. We need to tweak their letter, or they need to tweak their letter. And it will be going out either tomorrow or Wednesday to the entire membership. This is, don't this isn't a first come, first serve.
Yeah.
So we are really going to try to accommodate everyone in all of the sessions. If you don't get a session that you're looking for, we will move you into another session. If that doesn't work, we'll find you a session that works. Jim and I just talked, if we need to add a third week of sessions or a fourth week of sessions to get everyone in, we definitely will. Now, one of the other rules of Fight Club is you will not be able to participate in more than one, just because we want to be able to give everybody a seat in the room. So every one of these is going to be the same format. So it doesn't matter if you're in the first one or the last one, you can have your time. There's 20 people in each session. They're designed to be small. So because he wants to really have conversations with everyone, and he'll bring at least one, if not two staff members just to work through it. That's his intake. Then they'll go back for a while, create some ideas, and then they'll come back and call for more meetings with all of you, and then you can tell them how you feel. So you are steering the future of this. But I think that as we look at the physical structure of this building, something needs to be done with it. If we look at the physical structure of the tennis building, something needs to be done with it. If we look at the pool, something needs to be done with it. It's not me, it's not Scott, it's all of you to try to determine where you want to do this.
Right, I think it's fair to say there's a trepidation amongst the membership that this is some nefarious plot. I'm actually kind of curious where it's going to go myself. We're asking everybody, each one's going to have the opportunity to help create what Suntree looks like over 15 years. We're not talking about next week, next month, this year. We're talking about a long-term plan, right? I'm sure if people have been to other clubs, you'll see sometimes the plan book. It ends up being something for membership and recruitment. They're like, here's the phased plans that are going to happen over the next 10 years at this club. So that people have a sense of what's happening. And that's driven by us, not by me. We're gonna build off what everybody wants. So I'm happy, excited to see everybody get into the room and tell us what they think.
The challenge that the club is going to have is to continue to make this a living document as it moves forward. Because this plan is going to be as a 10 to 15 year plan. And it's going to have to survive multiple boards, multiple presidents, multiple challenges as we go through here. Because there are going to be some level of funding mechanisms as we go into this. But it's not going to be, huge. We just need to take the temperature out of this. We need to really truly get your feedback on where you want to go.
So the bulldozer over there is headed for this building?
No, we were all really surprised about the bulldozer. They gave us a lot of forewarning that silt fence for 24 hours.
Be eaten up. So they usually try to stay on top. To compound the issue, if we have that going on, or even if we don't, and Mr. Tills has an event in here for 160 people for lunch, an early lunch or breakfast, the entire lot is taken, so we're moving staff over, and they're trying to find spots where they can. So as to represent the staff, we're doing the best we can with what we have. We do not have designated staff parking. I would assume at some point in the past, Suntree did, probably the north tennis lot or the back lot at golf, but it's all being taken up. So it is not ideal at all, our parking. Unfortunately, we're a victim of our own success in that. Why can't we add the ability to order food for pickup through the app, Mr. Tills? Currently I have to order in person and wait until it's ready.
I agree. I think that our app should be more functional. It's just about the appetite of adopting a new system or integrating it further. It hasn't come up, but I think it's a great idea. I personally used my opportunity to come up here and order food. It's a chance to stay out of my house for just a few extra minutes. But for those that were thinking Uber Eats, I get it. We should be able to dine and dash or whatever.
Next question is, why are we not searching for a new head chef? The reason is quite simple. We hired Edgar behind Dean Lee on purpose. Edgar opened the JW Marriott and Primos over in Orlando, and his family and he live over here in Melbourne, and he was tired of the drive. So when we posted for an executive sous chef, Edgar applied, and we eagerly hired him because of his experience. And with Dean leaving, we wanted to give Edgar a shot. He is currently our interim executive chef, and he is working with 2 other sous chefs and the culinary brigade. We did have staff leave us in the culinary position, and I know that Alyssa has pretty much hired all of them as of this week. So I know that through our closing reports and through the QR code that all of you are good enough to fill in. I get all of those all day, every day, all night as well. I know that we did have issues with some cold product and cold food going out. I know that we miscooked, I think, at least 1, if not 2 steaks for Dr. Miller. And then we did have some hold-up times as far as delivery. So we are aware of that. It is not on the front of the house staff. It was truly placed with the culinary staff. They were short-staffed, and they were doing the best that we can and could, and we're not making excuses and did not want to make an excuse to all of you, telling you that that's why. But we're really happy with the front of house staff, really happy with Jim and Trent, and Emma has been a great addition to the front of the house staff and training processes that they put in place. So hopefully you are experiencing that on the front, and we're working on the back. Next one is the new roof on the veranda finished? I got this. The outside edge is looking finished and unattractive. We agree. Today, the flashing in the gutters went up on the front. If you do go over there and test me tonight, they're not set in place. So they're hung, but they have to be not reset, but set properly and fully, and then the downspouts will be added to it. And then the open end on the cart storage area, the cart staging area, there's a closed end that will be going in there, and then it will be done. Tennis rackets, are there any plans to add a sidewalk or the concrete, preferably, or even graded gravel along the back of the tennis courts? As you know, Sorelli Salon has cut down all the shade trees, so there are there plans for additional shade back there too. So we're doing the best as we can with what we got. If you really want to take a look at it and you can come up with some great ideas for me, I'm all ears. The silt fence that you see over there is on the actual property line. There is no room that they're going to move it closer to their property. It's on the actual property line, and the setback is 5 feet. That's all we got. So in the past, I know that we had a sidewalk back there. There's a viburnum hedge that was back there that the club planted and assumed that that land was all ours. It's not. So now you know exactly where our property line is. The challenge that I have is that the tennis courts are graded to the east side. All the water from those clay courts goes that way. And that is the reason that there's river rock out there. The river rock is out there to collect the spoils and the runoff from the clay. And it is supposed to be replaced every couple of years so that it doesn't gum up and clog everything. So I need to leave that river rock there, so I can't put anything over that. And then past that, there's about a foot. And all we've got is a foot. So there's really no way for me to put some level of a path back there, let alone some type of planting material. As I shared with Dr. Miller and a couple other board members, there is an opportunity for us to go and talk to the owner of Sorelli to see if we can partner up with them and to cost share some of their landscaping that they're going to need to put over there, and see if there's something that we can contribute, that we place it on their land, and we sign an agreement that we will in perpetuity maintain it. But we will be trying to do something like that to add some high levels of bushes. Because down by courts 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I believe it's about 10 feet from that property line, that silt fence. There's a 5-foot deep dry retention pond that is going in there. And it's significant. And then past that retention pond is a 20,000 square foot retail complex with a restaurant on the cap end. So there is parking over there, those types of things. It is going to be active when it's built. So we're going to need to try to figure out something creatively, either with the owners of Sorelli or on our own to help stop that somehow. So, sorry for the long answer. Does that help, make sense? I don't know who wrote this, but tennis players?
Yeah, it's obviously just kind of a bummer. You don't realize just how exposed you are until you go drive past there now and stare all the way in. We're trying to establish a good conversation with the Sorelli folks. We've reached out to them on the meeting and see what we can convince them to let us contribute. Because what we'll get is the back side of that building, looking across an empty retention pond. So we want to do something to make it not look like it's part of us.
Next question is, oh, I'm sorry, Jackie.
Also, I would imagine if that's gonna be the backside of the building, there'll be dumpsters back there, probably.
Their dumpster pad is actually not on the back side, it's on the corner side. We have copies of the site plan if you're really
Okay.
interested. That is closer to the existing white building over there. So it's not gonna be close. Are you gonna smell it? Possibly, probably. And if you play tennis for the next 12 months, it's gonna be really dusty over there. Because that's a prevailing onshore wind. Yes, George?
Rob, they've got more trees down than what they were supposed to, so the county's going to force them to plant to replace some of those trees. So that's just a heads up for you.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to replant trees on that property line though, George. I hope they did, but that's between them and
I'm just
the
talking
county.
about the counties.
Yeah,
So-
that happens. Next question is, can we start having seasonal golf memberships? Thank you.
Well, currently we have 3 types of golf memberships. We've got the full, we've got the limited access, and the limited rounds. A seasonal membership is not dissimilar from a limited rounds. There's an opportunity to play less. If we're speaking more towards a national membership, that's not something that's currently in the cards, but as a general statement, that usually requires a home address more than 100 miles from your location, and then there's considerations for dues adjustments and things of that nature. I mean, right now, to be fair, we have too many membership classes. We had a lot more, we're condensing them. I'd love to see them condensed further. But at this moment, I don't think we're going to have a seasonal membership outside of the intro golf that comes on for the 15 people that can over the summer.
Survey questions. First is, was a strategic plan? Main question on the survey make me think you are planning to build another building.
All right, so Rob kind of did a good job of trying to put out the idea that we've made some grand plans. We need to make plans, but we're asking you to help us make them. So that's the strategic plan, right? If you get more broad, the strategic plan are the 7 pillars that we have that dictate the direction we want the club to go. This engagement with ELM is more about the structural strategic master plan. Structurally on campus, what goes where, when does it have to be fixed? We're sitting in a building with millions of dollars of deferred maintenance. We've got challenges on campus that we have to plan for. So we're asking your help in picking it, but I mean, do we plan on building another building? I suspect it'll have to do with what people want done. Do we have to do something with this building? We certainly will have to do something. The time frame, again, is kind of up to us. This isn't a one-stop shop. This is a 10 to 15 year plan. We have to make long-term plans so that Sun Tree's still here then.
What were the results of the member survey? High level, and I'm not necessarily trying to deflect, but ELM has all these results. They have compiled them and they are turning them into questions for your focus groups. They have the results and they are happy to share them all with you. The operational parts and the questions that they asked you were more to drive facilities needs and layouts and planning than they were to give us operational input about how we were doing. So the operational input of how we are doing we get daily from you QR codes in the Palm Restaurant, the end of event surveys for the men's member guests that just went out in all the events that we have. So they are going to share all of those with you. There were, I think, Jim, 900 pages of answers and verbatim and things that they were working through. So they have a system that they go through and it helps them collate and kick out questions to lead. But you can specifically, when you're in the room with them, ask them anything that you want about that survey and how it came out and what it said. So I don't want to try to answer these for you. We want to upgrade everything at Suntree. Where is the steam or sauna in the club?
That's awesome. I also am looking for the steam and sauna. Again, this is where I would want everybody to be involved in the master plan. If steam or sauna is on the list of things that you think, in addition to a better fitness facility, please come to that part of these focus groups. Tell us what we need. That's a simple answer.
Wait till the summer? Sure. I think there's one person that was seating a couple questions in here. This one's written the same. Landscape and walkway lighting around the clubhouses. Once the sun sets, we should be able to see from the dining area or old clubhouse, the landscaping, immediate greens, putting and classic on the 18th, walkways and driving range. Walkway, we spend a lot of money on these items, but it's pitch black at night. Indirect tree and landscape lighting would provide great ambiance and backdrop. Is this on our immediate plans or for the new year? Operationally, I was not planning on this, but I'm not opposed to the idea. Now that you're bringing it up, we can certainly take a look at it and see what we can put together and put in a capital project for next year.
I mean, again, I don't think it's a bad idea to focus on what looks nice and accentuate those things at night, while recognizing that, and this goes into the next question, you just have to decide how much money goes into what when. So right now, that's certainly on a list of things that could be passed down. I'm sure that the facilities committee or the greens and browns, or whoever it happens to be, would be interested in taking up an idea like that and seeing what they could come up with. So it's a reasonable suggestion.
Last survey question, multi-parter. What is a strategic and immediate improvement plans for the old clubhouse? Number 2, the men's bathroom east of the golf range, I assume it's here behind the grill, are not in good shape. Hot water doesn't work. We'll take a look at that. No amenities and subpar to our other bathrooms in the new clubhouse. These are the most convenient to driving range, patio, pool, bars, pool areas. When will these be renovated?
Again, I hate to keep saying it comes back to how we're going to do things, but the big question on everybody's mind is how to manage this building. That's one of the reasons we have to, this is germane to that question. So as we sort it out, is there an immediate plan to renovate the men's bathroom or make substantial immediate improvements to the clubhouse? No, there's not immediate plans for substantial improvements. There are necessary improvements for facilities here. We need a steamer that works. We need a walk-in fridge to cover things. We need the memberships, people that are interested in membership, to walk in and not think, oh, when was the last time they were in here cleaning up? So we have things that have to be done, but we're pulling it along. We're not, ta-da. That's a long-term decision, not a short-term.
Everybody's doing pretty good. We're at an hour and looks like we have another 13 pages left. I'm just kidding. We have 8. Next question, we're getting into the golf course questions. Courses seem to be overrun with POA and paspalum grasses. It is on and around the greens and fairways, tee boxes on both golf courses. What are the plans to eradicate? We do not have paspalum. We have a great healthy run of POA annua right now. And it is currently being eradicated. So Nick and the crew have formulated a spray to start taking out the POA. And then it will be fertilized to come back around the back side of it. And then there will be pre-emergence applied so that it does not come back. POA annua is a cool weather grass. And POA comes in when there is there's a weakness in the grass. So if the celebration is weak in certain areas through the cold months and it's not really fertilized well, it will pop up. So we anticipate this going away next year. Will it go away completely next year? No, but it will be much better next year. So the more that we continue the pre-emergence and this fertilizer program that we're on right now, which is we're doing wall-to-wall stuff right now, which is great. All the posts should be eradicated naturally over by the next 2 years, for sure. So it will be going away. Will the golf course operation fix all the ugly and unsightly conditions specifically on challenge before embarking on new and unfunded projects?
This seems like a very specific question somebody had about some agitated moment. But I will say that I don't currently have, nor does the board have, an idea to embark on a new or unfunded project. Part of the adjustment and the increase in dues this year was driven by providing the Greens team with more money in the face of more members to do the work back there, more employees, as well as some better chemical and fertilizer and things of that nature. So having those extra people give them time to get to past primary jobs into secondary and then tertiary, which is probably some of the things people are thinking about. I wish they'd been specific about the conditions, but we're working, I say we as the group is working very hard to continue to make the golf course look better. It's obviously the big driver.
Next question is, with the investment in sanding the greens and the amount of time that aerification, yes.
Mr. Rivers.
If I ask myself, is there a signature hole on the Classic, I'd tell myself it was number 18. It's beautiful, it's a lovely finishing hole. If I ask myself the same question on the Challenge, I might choose number 7, which could be a glorious hole, but the Challenge green and surroundings, the surroundings to the 7th green on the Challenge, is a dump. It's been a dump for 25 years. There have been sporadic attempts to improve it. I think it could be such a glorious view to play number 7 and visualize that third shot to the green with a beautiful surrounding, like number 12 at Augusta.
If we want to make Century Augusta, I'm in. However, to your effect, Mr. Vickers, I don't disagree with you. I think that area has a lot of opportunity. And one of the things that the Greens Committee has been speaking to and about is, as we make improvements from one place to the other and one facet of the course to the other, right? We focused on greens, we're trying to work on fairways, tee boxes. Surrounds are a big part of the green, right? Once we finish the green, what do our surrounds look like? What is ideal? That's when we really start to get into what Nick and the guys know about grass types, mowing patterns. What can we do to make those surrounds exceptional? I think the sky's the limit, but it costs money. So can we do stuff? I hope so. And I want to see what Nick has to say. And as we focus on each next step, the surrounds are a big part for me. Right now you can hit the ball into the green and it'll roll from the front to the back. If you hit it 5 yards short of the green, it stops. That's a byproduct of not having good soil management on the golf course for a very long time, 20 plus years even. And so we're trying to fix that, and I think that all comes together. So do we have a master plan on how to make everything look exceptional? Not yet. Do I want every hole to be thought of as maybe it could be the signature hole? Yes. 7, it could be exceptional too. So I'm all in on making our golf course superb and exceptional, and it's a stepwise buildup.
And just a little bit to that effect, Mr. Vickers, I think that as we continue to see the improvements in the playing conditions on our golf courses, we're going to start seeing more and more small details become bigger issues, when before all we were hoping for was something to look green. So we're really open, myself, Nick, Ryan who's coming in, Austin and the pros, we're open to taking in all this information as you share. When you finish your round, if you see us in the 19th hole, when you're eating, just share it with us. So we'll be happy to say, oh, we didn't see that, or yes, we're working through it, we've noticed it. So we play golf ourselves. We ride the golf courses often, so we're here for you too. So, with the investment in sanding the greens and the amount of time that aerifications take, was the member benefit?
I feel like that's a super straightforward question. That's the member's benefit is that the golf course is better playing, right? I mean, the work that we're doing is trying to make the golf course be better. Improving conditions is the basic tenet here. So the member benefit is that the golf course is better by taking care of it appropriately. So it's kind of straightforward.
There's also just a little bit, when we embarked on this, I know that I took some shots from all of you, because I asked you for a lot of money to dry jet and to aggressively airify and an extra week of aerifications, and you said, Rob, how are you going to know, right, when it's ready, right? We can anecdotally say that the greens are firmer and things like that, but from a business perspective, I shared with you that when our green fees go up, right? Anybody in the room when we talked about this? Yeah? Our green fees from 24 to 25 increased over 30% in 1 year. So when we talk about golf course compression, it's not just all of you playing golf the way that you play golf. We are actually having more members bring guests and pay guest fees, 30% more year over year on the golf courses, I would like to think because of the conditions. So there is a business benefit that came from that. Does it cause more compression issues? Yes, but as we talked earlier, we moved our cap down to 600. So hopefully we'll start balancing out rounds of golf and blend it between just member rounds and member guest rounds. Monday golf, we currently are doing shotgun starts for Monday golf. I would like to see us go back to full access with tee times. I get it. Summer storms limit the ability to finish rounds timely. Given our dues, fees, current continue to skyrocket, I would like full access return to the membership. This is in anticipation of the next one.
Sure. So I'll speak briefly about the shotgun start part. We're going to be transitioning back to tee time starting Monday afternoons. Since we are much more daylight, there's much more time to finish your rounds. Specifically, full access, and we'll speak more to this over the next few slides. The access that we have been able to add, being the afternoon on one course on Mondays, is simply because Nick has been able to figure out a way to do all of the work on one course in a short enough amount of time to then open it. The standard practice here is to fix the golf courses timely and doing them the appropriate way in order to make the playing surfaces better and improve the long-term health of our golf course. So we have to do those things, and there's several reasons for them. But there's not an intention in the near future to remain open on both courses on Mondays. That's not on the list of things we're doing. Nick, it's exceptional that Nick was able to figure out a way to do open times on Monday afternoon.
Doctor, next question.
This question is really long. I'll paraphrase a little bit. The question asks the board to specifically explain to the members why one course cannot be open for member play all day on Mondays. And then it goes on to qualify the statement. One of the key benefits of a 36-hole course is that one course can be open when the other is closed for maintenance. For the last 20 plus years, we were able to have one course open on Mondays, not as a shotgun. The crew is doing a great job with the condition, but the members should be able to play on them. We have all new equipment, which should help with the maintenance. It is. We have increased the manpower. We are working on that. We have knowledgeable staff, but we still have one course closed for member play for 144 days a year. Presuming that's specifically speaking to the 2 shutdowns for uptake and then the Monday closures. Not inclusive of member tournaments. I understand the summer maintenance closures, but not the Monday morning closures. So what we've got to try to balance here is the strong desire by the membership population that golfs on Monday mornings to balance out the use of the club for everybody else and to try to improve the playing conditions vis-a-vis appropriate agronomic practices. That includes several layers of things that are done on Mondays. Now, normally that takes all day to do them, but again, the team has figured out a way to blitz one course, which would be the job for one team all day, to compress it to allow the course to open. So if we could just pop into the next slide. Do we have these?
So the operational impacts, these are the operational impacts if Monday closures are reduced.
Right, and so this is specific, this is a question you can ask Nick, and Nick can give you a 90-minute presentation on why it's not practical. But some specific stuff is it affects mowing cycles, which would lead to inconsistent playing conditions, which we have seen historically. We'll have reduced effectiveness of spray programs. Bunker detailing is on Mondays, requires no interruption. It's very challenging for a team to work on a hole and stop every few minutes, turn everything off, wait for the next team to play through, then try to get a few more minutes of work done, waiting in our 8-minute spacing. Our bulk fertilizer applications are Monday scheduled, and it needs to be watered in. This doesn't allow us the opportunity to play on it, as we have to manage the golf course appropriately during that time frame. All of this drives inconsistent turf and playing conditions. And the large knock on the golf course currently is that we have an abundance of organic material in the fairways. This is the same problem we had on the greens a few years ago. It took an absolutely concerted effort of a ton of sand and dry ejecting in pretty aggressive fashion in order to try to save those playing conditions. The same essential thing needs to happen to all of the fairways at Century Country Club. That is a pretty substantial task to undertake. It'll take a lot of effort over a few years versus tearing everything down and re-sprigging and restarting everything, right? Those are different options that one can go through the process. But stopping what we have on Mondays and the time that Nick needs to address the conditions will perpetuate the problem, and he's trying to fix it. So I love that we can offer golf on Monday afternoons. I do think that we need to focus on the long-term health of the golf course as well.
So just hold on, Steve, there's 2 more slides that go along with this. One of the things I do want to point out, Doctor, that I right now would be remiss, and Mr. Curley was in the room when we were talking with ELM from the strategic planning company. And he said that the number one, which is interesting for me because when I arrived here, the golf course was getting knocked left and right. The number one highest rated thing on the survey this year, he said in just on the top level, were the conditions on the golf courses. This was literally a period, full stop. None of you have complained to me, not a single one, about the conditions of the pond banks. You haven't complained about the condition of the bunker faces or the level of detail that is being done on the golf course. That is set up on Monday. And then throughout the week, all they do is go back and just maintain it. Monday is a heavy, heavy day for us. So the second slide is the agronomic impact. The agronomic impact is light and frequent top dressings are essential to maintaining firm, smooth, and consistent putting surfaces. This practice dilutes organic material, improves oxygen exchange, and supports healthy root development. If the Monday maintenance window is reduced and the program becomes inconsistent, it will result in poor turf and playing conditions. Organic material accumulation will increase, which is bad. Greens will retain more moisture and become softer. Ball roll consistency and overall surface smoothness will decline. Disease and algae pressure will increase. You have lived through that. And more aggressive verification practices and future disruptions will be required to maintain the same conditions. Final slide is the green conditioning risk chart. This was shared with the golf committee. It will be shared with the greens committee on Wednesday. The greens conditioning risk chart, and I'll be happy to give all of you this, that top line is blue, and that is the firmness of the greens with top dressing. The next line down is in orange, and it drops, and that is the firmness of greens without top dressing. It drops significantly. The middle one, the red one that goes up, is organic material without top dressing increases. The bottom line, the green line, the flat line at the bottom, is the level of organic material when you top dress. We started top dressing over 2 years ago, before Nick got here on purpose, because we hired a consultant to come in to test our soil. He said the first thing you gotta do is aggressively start top dressing. Then you gotta get into aggressive practices, which is what we did. Whatever we do to turn off the dry jecting, and we are still dry jecting this year, and we're still using Maximus this year because we have to. Not because we want to, but because we have to. The greens, as great as we think they are still not healthy enough to go without that additional tonnage of sand. It is absolutely imperative that you continue this program.
I think that, the long answer to this question is that we try to take best practices and all the information we're given and we have within the system, and then we put it in front of committees, and the Greens Committee and the Golf Committee can digest this information and say overwhelmingly, yes, we need to continue to stay close in order for Nick to be able to do the work he has to do. We should be happy that we have afternoons. Could we have all? No, we can't right now. We have to focus on the golf course. And that comes from the bottom all the way up. And so the board feels right now that that's the direction to continue. Steve?
Two things.
Yes, sir.
First, your answer sounded like we had both courses closed all day Monday forever, which is not true. We always have one all day. Now, I understand where you came from.
Sure.
I did send in a alternative. That week, if it's important to have that half day, why couldn't we do it on another day of the week when the other course is open? As an alternative.
So we would disrupt play on another day of the week in the morning? I think that goes, I'm looking at Pat Waters, I don't think the golf chair is going to want to change the golf calendar so that we can open Monday mornings. We have been extremely successful in the program that we have.
Sure, but I think the big thing here is it's unfortunate that it most impacted the Monday morning group, and it's definitely like with the number of groups and the long-term usage of the golf course and the history that goes into that, change is not easy, and it doesn't feel fair, and to some, from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem fair for your group that time has been stopped, and it was stopped more altogether. I'm happy that we can try to get Mondays, but right now, where we're at is where we're at, because we have to focus on our best asset, and that asset needs the work that it needs, unfortunately. 20 years of long-term use and differences, maybe things will be different, but I can't project the time frame in which that changes, because we have a lot of work to do ahead of us.
Mrs. Hyde?
Did you have an evaluation of what the impact would be if we went back to the alternating, only one course closed? So it'd be every 2 weeks you had that course focused on?
Yes.
Because that always seemed logical.
The challenge here is that you're right, and for the time when I got here, that's what it was. One course one week, one course the next week. And unfortunately, the effort to keep the play going all the time, I believe, contributed to the problem. The lack of a top dressing program ever at Suntree Country Club over the time I was here has given us a very deep hole to dig out of. And it's a deep hole filled with organic matter that doesn't drain water, and it causes challenges on our golf course. So the answer is the slides that he gave. Essentially, no, we can't stop doing it week over week because we have too much work to do, and stopping it will distinctly change the playing conditions.
People could get over that.
And listen, it's personal to the people it affects, and I'm trying to reach out to every person and try to make things work the best. But Monday is distinctly the lowest volume play per day, and we have a lot of work on the golf course to do. It's a natural time frame to do the work is Mondays, so we're going to continue to do it as we are.
Any more questions before we get to the results? Yes.
So I'm just curious, is there a schedule for the driving range as far as mat versus grass now or in the near future?
There is, if you'd like to see it, Austin and the golf shop have it, and we can ask them to publish it. It's not a secret. It's not a secret, but I would like to think that you'll be on grass more now that we're getting into the growing season. Mr. Duncan?
I just ask a question for more transparency. Would it be a suggestion, or would it be a good suggestion to release the department budgets in totality that go into the numbers that you're receiving to us? These are good superficial numbers, but it doesn't give any results or view as to which departments were spending the money on, what their budget was, and what the outcome was.
So if you want that level of detail, I encourage you to send me an email or give me a call. I'll be happy to arrange a meeting with myself and Amy, our financial officer, and we'll go right into it with it. Sir?
What is the timeline for replacing the targets or improving the targets on the driving range?
So what we're working on, so the targets on the driving range. So Steve Ford put together a list, Austin and the assistant pros put together a list, and then working with Brian, and we're gonna start adding some more. I know that there's been a desire to put baskets back. I'm not a fan of the plastic baskets. That doesn't mean I'm not a fan of baskets, but the plastic ones break and they're always crooked. So I shared with them that if they want the basket, buy one, and we'll give it to Steven, who's our mechanic, and he can buy 2-inch hole steel, and we can make some and powder coat them and put them out there. So there's going to be some changes coming once the new director of golf gets here that will change some more targets, especially on the short side for you. Brian?
Yes, I've brought this up before. Are we just gonna put poles out there in the driving range, or are there plans to build up target greens so that we can actually see where our ball is landing?
Understand.
Because it's so flat out there now, you can't judge your distance.
No, we understand. So we've talked about that. I know that Dr. Hanley, who joined us, is in the back. We've played around with it at the Greens Committee. It's in conversation right now. It's going to take an investment to do soil push-ups and probably get some more soil in here, but we can definitely run some costs on it and see what that would cost to put some soil push-ups out there and drop the targets on it. I understand.
I'll ask you one more driving range question.
One more? Because that's 3. I don't know what else we can cover on the driving range.
No. Can the committee take a research investigate having maybe 150 or 200 yard north-south driving range somewhere on the property?
Yes, but I'd love you to chair it and tell me where we're gonna put it. But yeah, no, we haven't looked at anything like that. So what I would share is, honestly, is if these are concerns or questions that you have, your focus group, when you get in that room, that's when you start talking like that. Can you extend the driving range? How do you do it? How can you do double-sided? What can you do? What can you move around here? What does this all look like? I mean, that's really when you go into the room and you just lay it out and let them know what you're looking for. Truly. A little joking aside, I don't know where we would be able to put something like that. So, Steve?
Maybe if we get some reduced distance golf balls on the range so we don't find 6, 4, 18.
So I can definitely purchase those for you. In all seriousness, they will be about 30% of the cost. We are spending about $16,000 a load on range balls. That is for 12,000 range balls. We have a 2-piece, we upgraded to a 2-piece ball this year. And we will need 4 deliveries of range balls because of the number of range balls that you all hit and that come back damaged and scarred. So that is the volume of range balls that would go there. So, any more questions? Yes.
You
proposed and implemented a plan to take all the gardening equipment, lawn equipment, and put it to lease, rather than us owning ourselves.
Mhm.
Was there any ever financial analysis on how that impacted our bottom line?
So it's not all, it's all of the heavy use equipment, which is important, right? So this is all the stuff that's run day to day. It's the fairway mowers, the rough mowers, it's the greens mowers, it's everything that's beaten, just like the golf carts, right? Yes, we would have had to outlay $3 million if we purchased it all together. So it definitely saved us a good amount of cash. Yes. And typically, as a best practice in all golf facilities, especially private, the best practice is to lease your cart fleet and to lease your high-use greens and grounds equipment. And then at the end of it, our leases are set up with dollar buybacks. So we can choose if we get into a down economy and we want to hold and not pay that lease payment for the year, then we can purchase all of it and hold that, retain that cash that we set aside for the lease repayment and start that whenever we want. The same is true for all the greens and grounds equipment. That is all set for dollar buyback, and we can buy it all if we hit that recession or if we need to do a pull forward. That's another lever that we could pull that I forgot to share, but yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next. All right, in alphabetical order, the incoming board members are Mr. Ken Dawson and Mr. Pat Waters. Thank you very much.